Hello, hello. I am Heather, aka Planner Mumsy. Join me for a quick overview of a new planner I kind of was forced to start. Stay tuned. Hello, hello. Hey, y'all. It has been quite a while since I last filmed. I feel like I go in spurts of saying that. My thumbnail really is not far from the truth, to be completely upfront and honest. This is going to be a bit of a personal and somewhat chatty video, so if you are not into that, that is totally okay. But if you are someone that likes it when planner people just keep it real, then definitely stay with me. Well, let's see. I feel like everything started way back in November of 2023. My husband and I go and we either drive or we fly to go to Maine to check on family at least twice a year. Obviously, we check in and talk to them on the phone on a regular basis, but we physically go and put eyes on family twice a year. Hands, of course. We hug them and love them while we're there. But I am not a fan of flying, and there's a few reasons why. My biggest reason is because usually people fly and they are sick and they just continue to fly. And in some ways I get it. Like, they might have gone somewhere and not been sick, like on the flight out, and they have no choice but to fly back. And that was basically me. I flew out, was totally fine when I flew out, had no issues, got there, spent a number of days with family, and literally the morning that I woke up to fly back, I was sick. And it was just like, well, we just have to push through. I wore an N95 mask the whole entire time. I did my best to, not really touch much of anything and clean whatever I did touch, all the things. But that sort of happened. So I went on the trip the end of November, beginning of December, and that sickness lingered, y'all. It lingered from the beginning of December, probably right through Christmas into, almost the first part of January. So I was already just wiped out. And, the beginning of the year came. I was outside doing my normal routine on the farm. I am, in my 40s, and I still am very, very active. So I feel like, I can probably do more than my body actually can. And that's going to be a problem as I get older, because my brain thinks I could do more than I physically can. And I went to pull a stall mat. And if you know anything about farming and stall mats, they're very, very thick rubber mats, very heavy. I went to pull it and I didn't really wait for another family member, like, one of the boys to come and help or anything. And I tore a muscle kind of going up strained. It's hard for them to say, but going up my arm here, and then in my back, kind of like shoulder area on my left side, also super strained / tore. It's hard for them to say. It was minor as far as the tear goes, but it's still a very long healing process. Here we are in March, and it's literally just starting to give me some relief. The arm here is still very, very tender, and I have a lot of like nerve things. I get still like numbness at the tips of my fingers now and again. So that's not 100% healed, but massive pain. And I was nervous because I, as I've talked about before, had been diagnosed with Graves' disease. I've been in remission for 2 years, But I knew that stress, lots and lots of stress, was going to possibly cause an issue for my thyroid. And lo and behold, February came. I was desperate for some pain relief. Wasn't taking pain meds or anything like that, but I finally went to see my primary physician, and he said, well, let's do a cortisone shot. Y'all, let me just put this out as a disclaimer. And for some people, I'm sure that they've had cortisone shots and been totally fine. But if you are hyperreactive and you have issues with thyroid stuff, do not get a cortisone shot. That cortisone shot, for 2 days I was fine. Day 3, my blood pressure went up, like pretty high for me. My blood pressure is normally totally fine. Blood pressure went up, heart rate went up. My face all the way to my chest was, like beet red, hot flashes, nausea, vomiting, like could not eat. And I was losing 1 to 2 pounds every day. It was so bad. And I tried to stay hydrated. I tried to make sure, I was just eating like small meals so that maybe I wouldn't be quite so nauseous. It was so awful. So awful. And then it threw my whole entire body into a tailspin. And so my thyroid reacted. Because my thyroid super overreacted, all my hormones went out of whack. So it kind of threw me into, I'm not like full menopause, but definitely threw me more into a menopausal state versus before, just like anxiety out of nowhere, super muscle weakness, like my whole upper body felt super weak. Oh, y'all, it was misery, absolute misery. So with all of that, I was forced to start a new planner because, here's the reality. Like, I don't want to track all that gross negative in my regular planner. I do like to be able to go back to my older planners and, go through and see events and such. I really don't want to see like, what's my blood pressure, what's this, what's that. I didn't want to see any of that stuff in my main planner, so I decided to just start another one. My only thing for myself was you're not buying anything because I have so much and I just need to use it. So this was a cover that I had already had. This is an apricot Moterm. It doesn't really look apricot anymore because it has patinaed into kind of a nice honey color, which I love. And then I used a Angel Shop notebook that I had instead of, I did have one undated actual like planner type book I could have used, but I couldn't process the layout. And, through all of this, I had like brain fog and all of that. Also, like my ability, like you want to talk about analysis paralysis, like I already baseline have that. And then my ability to make like actual decisions during this whole time has been so junk. So on top of all the things, my thyroid gets really bad. I had my blood work done. My levels were almost critical. I woke up on a Saturday and y'all, I felt like I kid you not, I felt like I was dying. I was just like, I can't function. I can't hardly move. It was bad. Sorry. I don't mean to. I apologize if this is a bit too raw, but it was bad. And I really, I had no other choice. I had to go to the emergency room at that point. So went to the emergency room, of course. Everything else looked really good, which is which is good. Like there was, no major signs of infection. My heart looked good. My liver and kidneys look good. So all those things are all really good, positive blessings for sure. It's so hard because I worked so hard to get to this point. I worked so hard to get to the point where I was medication free, and it'd been 2 years of not needing to take it. So yeah, that was difficult for me. But then lo and behold, I come home that night and realize I am sick and this is not good. Like it immediately went into my chest. I'm autoimmune, so, being autoimmune at this point now basically means that I'm easily going to catch, whatever. So definitely, y'all, if you have friends or family that are autoimmune and you have, any slight of any sickness of any kind, even if you think that you've recovered and you're past it, just stay away from them for a while. Give them that grace, because when they get sick, it's way worse for them than it will be, for you if you're healthy. And I just say that, because unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that. And yeah, so I got sick and it immediately went to my chest. I was having difficulty breathing. My oxygen sats, for the most part, were decent, but I was having plugging in my lungs. And so anytime that happened, my sats would plummet. It was scary, y'all. It was really scary. And my daughter got it as well. Just the two of us originally were the ones that got sick. So the last 2 weeks have literally just been survival mode. And of course, still a lot of stress at this point because, literally when your lungs start plugging up and you can't breathe, that's stressful. That is definitely not a fun experience to be in. So I started putting this planner together and I was like, I need to track so much of this stuff now, and it's just too overwhelming. This whole thing was overwhelming for me, but I pushed through. I got out the notebook, made the decision I need to kind of do it almost like Bujo style in a way. I need to just make it my own to make it work. So I did go all the way back to January, even though I really don't have a lot to input in January. I did that anyway. And so what I did was I did a monthly, and then I turned around and did a 2-page blank so that I can do basically an overview of what happened in that month. And I'll show you obviously what February looks like. So in February, which I haven't actually filled all of this out, it was February, let me look to be 100% positive what the date in February was that I had it was on February 13th. So it was the day before Valentine's that I had the cortisone shot. So I'm just going to write that here because it's something that I just want to keep track of so that I have it there. So that was February. And then what I do is I just write the overviews here on what happened. I got the shot on the 13th, and then I just wrote 2 days later I started reacting. So in February, this is legit just a kind of overview so that when I go to the doctor, I can literally just go into these monthlies instead of needing to flip through all the other things. And then what I'm doing is just kind of keeping track of very specific things. So And again, if there's a guy watching this and this is TMI for you, I apologize, but I'm just being totally real here. My period started on the 23rd of February, and so you can see red marks the days, and look at y'all, like it went all the way into March, and today is what? Today is the 17th, and today is the 17th, so I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days without it, and it's already started back. So, I mean, I know for sure that I am having issues with, or, you know, like I'm getting old enough that I am, you know, heading towards menopause. That's reality. March 12th, I turned 49 is what I meant to say. And, so yeah, I'm well within that range, and I'm, you know, I'm not like stupid or anything, but that it's just really weird and messed up. And a lot of it is because the cortisone caused my thyroid to do stuff, and then my thyroid being bad then messes up all my hormones, and yeah, it's a mess. Basically what I'm doing, I'm not really tracking appointments per se in here. I probably will write them down. I think I did. I wrote it in the overview so that I can see it. In here, I'm mostly writing like when I start new meds or anything like that. So, super chest cold, doctor wanted me to go on antibiotics. I started antibiotics, immediately started reacting. Started a second antibiotic, immediately started reacting. Literally, I just quit. I didn't even call the doctor back at that point. I was just like, listen, I was a respiratory therapist for 25 years. My sputum is thick, but it's clear. I don't have a fever. You know, I didn't have a lot of the things that I had when I got the big C the last time. So this was, you know, I did have like loss of taste and, you know, some of that stuff. But I basically was just like, no, I'm just going to do all of the supportive things that I know I did last time that worked. And I just kind of stuck with that. Then I ended up starting on allergy meds, because when I get to the point where my thyroid is bad and I have to take the thyroid medication, my body starts throwing histamines like crazy, and then I need to go on antihistamines or else my face swells up, my tongue swells up. It's a nightmare. Then I have like the overview again, and you know, this is my overview for all of that. And I am doing a weight type thing, you know, at the beginning and the end of the month, because I went from 168 to 155 in the course of 2 weeks, I think, maybe 2.5. It might have been like 19 days. I lost that much weight. So that obviously wasn't good, and they wanted me to start tracking my weight more. So again, that's just something that I did. So I did monthlies like that, and these monthlies are a mess because what I ended up needing to do was I got a printable for a week's, and the way that the girl did it was really made more for a TN and not for something like this. So when it was printed out, there was no way. It was like this was on the same side when I cut them, and basically I needed to just do them again, and then I just glued them in like with the glue dot things, because again, my ability at that point to make decisions was like gone, and I was like, I don't care, I'm just using it. But you can see like the pages stick a little bit because I mean, I was a mess, and I was just slopping this thing together, and yeah, I keep finding like little residue glue dots that I keep wiping off. Like there's obviously one right there that I have to keep like scraping off with my nails so that it doesn't stick anymore. But it is what it is. I'm already vested into this thing, so I'm just gonna keep going at this point. Okay. Now, getting out of the monthlies, we're going to get into what I decided to do for the weeklies. This is going to keep changing and morphing because I'm not really sure all of the things that I need. So I think each appointment, I'm going to kind of change it up a little bit for what works. But basically, I broke this down into horizontals for each day so that I can keep track of what it is that I'm eating. Then, this is my first week. So this is really, there's not a whole lot here that I really tracked per se. And then this is just me kind of journaling out every day how I felt. And I'm going to keep doing that for sure, just because, I need to be able to look back and see that. So this is my second week. Today is technically Sunday. We're at the end of it. I think for now, I'm going to sort of land here. And so what this is again, the food log on the one side, and I haven't done this for a couple of days, obviously. The food log on one side. Up at the top, I just have a stamp tracker that I use for AM and PM meds because I'm taking both. And again, right now, my ability to think is bleh. And so I really need to have my planner so that I can know, did I take my meds tonight? I don't even remember. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And then I am just kind of writing in a space here if there was anything new I needed to take so that I can put it in the other log at the beginning. And so I just jotted down that I had to take those meds. Then I have a tracker for actual symptoms, and I'm, tracking those symptoms at this time. And they vary like crazy. So like yesterday I had nausea. This morning I was very dizzy. I am still coughing. But my neck pain, that's actually been really good. And yes, I am still having hives. I'm kind of photo tracking some of my hives a little bit just to get an idea for myself whether or not they're getting better or worse. You can kind of see like on my arms, you can see them, they kind of come up in patches like this all over my body, and they are very painful and they are extremely itchy. And the thing is I cannot touch them because they instantly they like turn into fluid and I end up scarring, and it's a nightmare. So, it's misery. I'm also tracking my sleep because for me, my sleep is directly linked to my stress. If I don't get enough sleep, my stress increases. Long story short, whether it was food poisoning or what, no idea, but I was up sick all night. So literally last night I got like 5 hours of sleep. And I had to go into the recliner to do so because it was literally the only way that I could sleep, and it was misery. Anyway, that's basically how I'm tracking that. I am, doing my kind of daily things. Y'all don't judge me for the stuff I'm writing. I'm being very, very raw with this. So, some of this may just seem absolutely pitiful, and that's okay. I'm owning it, and I'm okay with it. I am also tracking my bowel movements, which again seems silly, but with my thyroid issues, I really need to track it because I also have baseline irritable bowel. And yeah, so I need to track it because I need to know whether or not I need to increase fiber or whatever. Also, I am putting, let's see, today's the 17th. I'm putting what I'm doing daily as kind of I just wrote self-care. Really, it's about doing things that are helping support the rest of my body. Castor oil packs are really good for inflammation, and they're also really good for helping to support your liver in detox. And I've been doing that daily just because now that I'm on these meds again for my thyroid, I'm at risk for so many things. And obviously having liver issues is one of them. And so I am doing that every day to try and just support my body as far as that goes, and just really help detox as much as I can. Now that I also do like grounding outside. I do rebounding, which is basically like an adult trampoline. I have a little mini trampoline in my bedroom, and I literally just kind of bounce on it for 20 minutes just to kind of get the fluid, moving out of my body. I also do dry brushing, and the dry brushing helps to stimulate the movement of fluid in your body in order to, kind of flush it out through our natural system. So that's definitely, something else that I've been doing as well. And so I'm just writing them down just to kind of keep track of, what are the things that I did for myself in support of my health. That is it as far as how I'm tracking things right now in a nutshell. You can kind of see like one of the blanks and how I'm doing it here. And I'm just kind of like moving the stamps around. And let me tell y'all, if I thought I was bad at laying down stickers, stamps are like my arch nemesis because I can't stinking use stamps appropriately to save my life because I'm constantly screwing them up. And, then when I do, I'm like needing to fix my letters and fix my lines, and what a pain in the neck. But anyway, you can see I've kind of done a couple weeks out just to, make it easier for myself to fill that stuff in. And I think this page here will probably morph a little bit as I go and go to appointments and decide what it is that I really need to put in there. I definitely need to keep up with my food logs for now, because when I do end up finally getting to the point where I get to see a nutritionist, we need to have a real chat, about my food and, what's the best thing that I can be doing to support my thyroid. I already have an incredible diet, and I'm not saying that to be snotty or snarky or, whatever, pompous. This was already something that I had done prior to all of this because I had been sick before, and I realized that the food that I was taking into my body was not good for me, and I wasn't getting the benefits of it that I really should. I still have moments, obviously, where my diet is still not as good as it should be. And that's just something that I need to continue to tweak and work on. But in a nutshell, that is what has been going on with me. And this has definitely been somewhat time consuming for me. Just the fact that I have very little energy still to give towards my planning type things. This is one of those things that when you need to track so many things, you get tired and you're like, I don't want to do it. You just want to be like, forget it. I'm too tired. I'm not writing in that thing tonight. But then, the next day I'm like, yeah, I really need to catch up with that because it's, important that I'm keeping up with it. So that is it in a nutshell. If you guys have any questions about, what I've done here and how I'm setting it up, if you have suggestions, if you have tips or tricks or anything, I did say in my community page, if you've gone through menopause already, like what is your advice? Like, what would you tell me are the absolute must needs, tries, what have you? Because at this point, I definitely am overwhelming myself with so much knowledge that it's like I've reached the breaking point where it's too much now, and I really need to kind of roll back. But I would love to more hear from someone that has already physically gone through it or is going through it and has some like real person advice, because other than the norm of gimmicks and tricks and everybody trying to get my money for some supplement or something that's not going to work, I really need to be in a community of women that, can help, hold my hand and help me through it. Because it's reality. It's something that we all are going to go through as women as we get older. But it sucks. And, you have these like grand notions of, oh, I'm so tired of cramps and monthly issues and this and that and blah, blah, blah. I just can't wait for it to be over. And then it's over and you feel like you're dying. And you're like, wait, what? I thought it was just going to like disappear in a summer breeze. And I was just going to be, like totally fine and not a head case and crying at the drop of a hat or, whatever emotion my poor husband has to tolerate. Because, oh my goodness, y'all, I can cry 1 minute and then I'm like ready to kill somebody the next. It's awful. It's so bad. But, it is reality. So there's nothing I can do about it. I just have to find ways to support my body through the process and try to grow old gracefully. If that's possible. I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining this little chit chat video while I was super raw about, what's going on in my life and what's the future hold. I don't know. I mean, I hope I can get back to being medicine free again and go back into being in remission. That's my goal, but I don't know at this point where I'm at. Not willing to kill my thyroid because of the fact that I don't feel like it's my thyroid actually causing a lot of these issues. I feel like there is a secondary issue that hasn't been addressed, and I'm just trying to find that issue right now. So for my praying viewership, certainly could use your prayers in that and in wisdom and just helping to, guide me into figuring all of this out. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for sticking it out even when I need to take a break for my physical health. But if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.